Okay, hello everyone. As promised, we starting now at 2:35, 5 minutes after the beginning of what we plan to start with at 2:30. Fortunately, there are some colleagues that are still having some technical issues with the audio, but I'll go ahead because we can't, so we don't hold anyone back. So, welcome everyone. I'm Mariana Hayes here from the Higher Education Authority, Erasmus Plus National Agency for Higher Education. Today I'm going to lead you through a webinar on the new application form that was launched recently and all the key actions in 2018 from the call for proposals. All the applications are going to be through these web forms, and as I said on my previous email, there'll be a difference, let's say an improvement to the application, and I hope all of you can follow and will be pleased with the new application form, as pleased as I am, because I think it's very user friendly, and we're going to go through it in the presentation. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead again. Checking again the sound check. I see and know that some of you have some issues, but we see with IT, and I want to repeat this presentation will be made available to you straight after the webinar, and we will also post it on our website. I plan to go up to 3:30 the latest. So you can go ahead with the questions on the conversation where you're sending me messages about the audio, just to make sure that you follow. If you have any questions, just send me on the conversation. So we go ahead. First and foremost, 2018 application deadline for Key Action 103 and 107 is the 1st of February 2018, 11 o'clock Irish time. 12 o'clock Brussels time. So if you see that information anywhere else, bear in mind that 12 o'clock is Brussels time. So that means that it's 12 o'clock Irish time. Bear that in mind. There's nothing we can do if you don't have that application on. And you will see that if you start working on the application now, you can actually submit many times as it was in the past. But just the latest application is the one that's going to come through. So please, make sure you do not miss the deadline for both Key Action 103 and Key Action 107. I hope you've been working on with your colleagues on the application, so not to have any issues. And now, okay, we'll go through the online application. The webinar itself will be based on the farewells to the old form, the welcome to the new web application form, the whole application process, the main differences between Key Action 103 and Key Action 107, the process of submitting the web application form, and questions and answers. As I said, you can be sending your questions as I go along. So, farewell old form. For those that were involved in the application in the past, let's say 3-4 years, you'll be familiar with the fact that, okay, first you will have to go and download your form, but then you have to go and save your form on your server, close the form, and reopen it so you can actually work on the form. So there were a lot of different steps to access the form. It was confusing. Many times you'd be only accessing the form and you didn't know what to do with it. And then after you had the form, there was step 4, 5, 6, and many others. So step 4 being how to complete the form. You think that that's straightforward, but there were a lot of queries around: can I save my work? Should I validate? Should I put it first in a Word document? What should I do? And then some of you had problems with submission and problems of the PDF. Let's say the latest update, you didn't have that on your computer, so you had issues. So that's the farewell. That's it. That form is gone. Just a note, as we go along, I want to let you know that for the purpose of this webinar, this PowerPoint presentation will contain the main features of Key Action 103 web application form, while the demonstration that I'm going to show later on will be on KA107. So that should say the presentation will be made available to you as well. Is easy to follow through, but I felt that making the demonstration live to you on KA107 would make it 103 easier, because KA107, as we know from application 2, the management is a bit trickier. So I felt that showing the demo on KA107 would make things easier for you guys. But then there is one slide specifically dedicated to show the main differences between the two, which you see is not great. Like, it is just basically on the activities, but we're going to get to that. Yeah, again, just so bear in mind that when we go through and I show the demo, is KA107 rather than KA103. So, welcome web application form. The web application form is a platform, basically, where you are going to apply for KA103, 107, eventually KA203, and all the other. Basically, what they did was all the Erasmus application are on this platform, and it's very straightforward. It's separated by actions, so higher education, student and staff mobility with program countries is KA103 for those that are not familiar, and the one between partner programs is KA107. They have all these different names just to say 103 intra-European, 107 with all the countries in the world, but so you can access the platform through our website, through the national agency's website, erireland.ie. We welcome you to use it, and there we can browse all the information, not just about the application, but also on all the documentation for those who didn't know. But from here we go to the website. Let's see if I can open. Okay. So, apologies there. Okay. So, this is our website where you can find the application forms. So, our homepage, you go to I am an international officer, and then you have the Erasmus application forms. You can go through the link that I put it on the PowerPoint presentation as well. So here you go, application form, and you will be asked to use your EU login. So my EU login, I'm going to log in with my own. You're going to be logging with your own. Oops. Okay, never save it, remember in your head. So here we go, here we have the home page for the platform. We're going to get to my applications, but these are all the open calls. So I show you here all the open calls. So strategic partnership for youth is not your case, but here we go. So we're going to be looking at higher education student and staff mobility within program countries. You click on apply, and the new platform, it would open for you blank. So it's easier when you log in with your EU login, but make sure that that is the login that will be submitting that application, because there is a risk that colleagues may be accessing through a different. You are in the international officer, you are the main person, our main contact person, and the person to submit that application. Especially for 107, it is very important that you access that not many people submit that application. because there will be different applications from your same institution with different names, and we only be able to accept the latest one. So make sure that you as international officer is the main vehicle through the main person to submit that application. You can share that application. I'm going to show that to you. Is on a read-only format. If your colleagues want to have any input to that application, they can do it through a Word document. You can download the PDF and share with them, but please make sure that there is just the one application being submitted. Okay. Going back to, okay, you can see a lot of the preview, but just going back to it then, sorry. So when you get in, there is a pop-up screen that is essential for you. Before starting your application, as I said, we're going to be doing the KA107 on the demo, but for those who are not applying for 107, the format is the exact same. We're going to go through that later on the PowerPoint again, but this is the demo for now. So before starting your application for KA107, please have a look at the following information about the form, the guidelines. It is essential for you to read. So please make sure you read that. Mandatory fields are marked in red. All mandatory fields are filled in, and the validation rules in a section are observed. I won't be reading that because we would lose time with that, but please make sure to read the guidelines because it gives you the essentials to start working on the application. So first of all, you go on context. On context here you have the project start date for all of the projects for 103 and 107. The start date is the 1st of June 2018. And here you're going to select the project duration, 16 or 26 months. For KA103 is 16 or 24. There are some of the colleagues that have been using 24 months to accommodate internships later on the year. That we can talk about that on an IO meeting on a different occasion, but just so you know, you have that option, 16 or 24 months for KA103 and 16 or 26 months for KA107. So let's say you're going to opt for 26 months, so your project goes till July 2020. There are no more extensions to that. Those are the final durations. So bear that in mind when you select either 16 September 2019 or 26 months. At this stage, most of the institutions have already solid partnerships in place. They might be able to do their mobilities on that time frame of 16 months, but for some countries, maybe the work required is harder, so you might need the 26 months. We would advise you to go for the 26 months. If necessary, you can finish the project earlier as soon as the mobilities are completed, but that gives you more leeway to play around if there's any difficulties with visas, with flights, so that will give you more room for maneuver. National Agency of the Applicant Organization, IE02 Ireland, that's us. And the language to fill the application is English. So here, if you look up there, your first part of the application is done. The context is ticked in green. So that's how you know when your application is going on, if you know you completed the different headings. Applicant organization, are you applying on behalf of Mobility Consortia, yes or no? Straightforward, and here you're going to put your pick, right? I don't have a pick number on the top of my head, also because I'm not one of the institutions and I wouldn't use any of the institutions as an example, but you are going to put your pick there, and that does not mean that all the information will fall through, right? Once you put your pick number, you'll be able to edit on this button here on the right. You're going to be able to edit the information that you have in there. They would ask you to update legal representative and contact person. Again, that contact person is the main person we are going to be contacting for the year on the project. So please make sure that if you are the international officer, or if it's a specific colleague, that you put your name. You can add more than one contact person. You need to put the legal representative and the contact person. If there were changes in your legal representative, please let us know in advance. So after you fill that, make sure that won't go green if there are information missing. If there is any information missing, that won't go green. So I did a test yesterday. In the application organization, what will block you to go ahead is legal representative and contact person, which needs to be confirmed. So you have to fill up those fields basically. And here then we go to the partner countries. Remembering you all, this is for Key Action 107. For Key Action 103 is different. I can go through it later, but we go through the whole application for Key Action 107. So partner country, you decided you are going to apply for mobilities with, since I'm just back from Brazil, here it's going to be with Brazil. You need to have the pick for that institution. Those institutions is an institution that you would be part of. Probably that you've been working with. They would have to be registered with the platform, with the participant portal, because they're being part of the program. So you need their PIC numbers to apply. So you have here the institutions, right? The institutions. The higher education institutions which you're going to be partnering with to send students, staff, to receive students, staff, and then you can add as many as you want, as you can see, and then you can delete them again. Just before we go into the traineeship, let's see if there are any questions. Everyone very quiet, no questions. Are you sure you're following me? I'll go back then. So traineeships for Key Action 107 is the novelty on Key Action 107 is the traineeships, and for the traineeships you here add the pick and the name of the partner organization which will be welcoming or sending you interns for traineeship. Do we have 20 picks for every partner? Peter, this is for 107. For 103 you'll be different. You don't have to list your partner or picks. That is going to happen just in the mobility tool when you add organizations, but as for previous years, your partners for 103 should be in the mobility tool. You'll be passed on from one year to the other. For Key Action 107, you need to pick for the partners. Just to remind you, the demo that I'm doing right now is on 107, and I'm going back to show you the differences and to show you the difference. But for 103, you don't need your pick for your partners. That won't even be asked in the application. But for 107, it will. That's why here we are at the application for 107. Actually, I think I won't go there because it will be confusing. So, going back to Key Action 107, apart from here, you go and select the one country and you go through the questions. Remember, in the normal PDF form, you add a country, there are quality questions related to the relevance of the strategy, the quality of cooperation arrangements, and the quality of project design, implementation, impact, and dissemination. The format is the exact same, right? You're going to put it on these fields. Why? Actually, as you can see, for some of the institutions, you don't need the pick it's better if you need it. If you have the pick, it's easier for us to identify it, to make sure the information is right. But you don't necessarily need the pick. I take back everything I said, but we ask you just to make it easier. Once you're going to put in the form here all the strategies, why is my institution partnering with the University of São Paulo, and what's the relevance for the strategy with that institution, what the cooperation arrangements, design and implementation, impact and dissemination. Impact and dissemination, very important. I know it's a difficult question. I know impact sometimes you can only see it at the long term, but it's essential that you work on that. We are now selecting the experts, and I mean, most of the institutions fell in the past on impact and dissemination, so make sure that that is very much looked after. So once, I mean, you would have in mind already what kind of mobilities, what kind of activity you have with the University of São Paulo. That information goes down here on the main activities. So you'll be adding, so activity, the first type of activity. You see, as you click, I'm just going to go back. You have the list of activities here. So let's say ABC. Just to show you how it gets complete and it turns green, which I think again is it's very user friendly. So make sure that you only put there the information there once you're sure that that's the information that goes on, because then you see ABC turned it green, you know that that field is complete. Question. Audrey. I can't hear the presentation, so I'm typing this. Would appreciate a response on this form, please. For KA107 application, if two submissions are made for one country, two staff from different faculties both want to work to 7, is there an option to input two sets for the quality questions, or must it be only one collated response for the... Yes, Audrey, I know you can't hear me, but yes, you need to collate them in the one response. You can maybe, if it's two, let's say cooperation with USP, the University of São Paulo. You have the partnership is on let's say agriculture. Right, but maybe one academic from another faculty want to partner with UNESCO, which is another one, but they want to partner on architecture. So you can separate them like that, right? But you need to collate them in the one. You won't be adding Brazil again. Everything that goes with Brazil or with China or Kazakhstan or any country should go separate, should go on the same collated on the same response. The same quality question. Yes, Margaret, these are the same quality questions as usual. The questions, they are the exact same. You will only change really the form. Elena Somoza had two same questions, two parts in the same country. No, do we fill in the 4 quality questions separately for each of the 2 institutions? You can separate them, but again, you only have the one, just like in the previous PDF format. For Brazil or for any given country, you only had the one field for that country, so you'll be filling in that form like that. all the quality, let's say all the quality questions, if you have 5 institutions, you find a way to, on that response, say how you're going to collaborate with the 5, even if they are in the different departments and in different faculties. And thank you, Elena, for getting back to Lena about there's the maximum of 7,000 characters in the 4 questions. Okay, let's just go back. So when we go to the main activities here, you will, as you can see here on the right corner, you have activity details. And you click on activity details. And here you're going to add the type of activity. The budget will be calculated automatically for you. So let's say we are welcoming students from Brazil. So let's go back again. Because see, you can click on the dots or you can click here, flow details. So here you're going to say if it's incoming or outgoing. So let's say it's incoming from Brazil to Ireland. That is filled in automatically because the context is already filled in. Okay? The distance band, here you have a link to the very important distance calculator. We are still to use the distance calculator for the application. For countries like Russia, the US, you have to calculate it based on the location of your partner institution, not the capital of the country, because that may vary. So you are going to ask, you're going to show me here on the list of partners, right, that you're going to partner with X and Z partner, and you're going to select the distance and the total number of participants. Let's say you are partnering with, we're going to send welcome students from Russia, but one is from for one of them the distance band is from 3,000 to 3,099, but from other is 4,000 to 7,999. You can break down the flows, okay? You can say there'll be like let's say there'll be 3 incoming from that distance band, another 3 incoming from a different distance band. You can break them down, but make sure, if it's a case of a big country where distance bands can vary, make sure you separate them. Otherwise, we are going to go, we want to optimize the budget. So if you put 2 countries, we might consider, but we might split them in 2, and depends on the envelope country. That we'll be limited on the budget. So be clever when you put in on the application. Okay, make sure that if you're applying for Russian, there are 3 students coming from an institution that is far out, that you make sure that you report or request 3 correct distance band for them. Okay, the total duration, full months. If you have 3 participants coming for 3 months, you're going to put here the total duration, the total months. So 3 by 3 is 9. Okay, and remember the minimum duration is 3 months. So you won't be able to put, you'll be able to put 3 months here, but we can't split that 3 months into 1 month each. So it's 9. Okay, so if you have 3 participants for 3 months each, the total duration is 9 months. If there are 9 extra days, maybe you agree with your partner that one of the students is coming for 3 months and 15 days, you can add the 15 days here. Or if you want to add maybe 20 days or travel days, that for students doesn't really matter. You can add days if you know the exact duration. You see, you calculate automatically the total duration in days, and then it gives you an average. You see how important it is to put 9 months there, because if I put 3 months here, the average is 1 month and 5 days. And then you get an alarm. The total duration for the number of participants does not correspond to the minimum duration per mobility, as defined by the program guide, 3 months or 1 academic year. So, again, Oh Lord. Can you hear me now? Okay guys, apologies for that. I ran out of battery with my mics, but now I think I have 3 working, so it should be fine. Technical issues, we all have it then. Okay, let's just go back then to what I was saying. Can you follow here the way I was explaining? It has a drop down. You see partner countries, partner country, main activities, activity details. And they are all quite self-explanatory, because when you go, you have the activity, which would be student for study, placement, teachers, or staff for training. And you have the flows. So you add the flows, as many flows as you want. As I said, you can add 3 different flows for students from different distance, from different partners. Okay. Okay, guys. Yeah. I'll go back because we're losing some time here. So, okay. And then you put the activities. You don't have to worry about total activity. When you go back to the partner countries, well, when you go back to the partner country, Brazil specifically, you show you at the very bottom the budget. Okay? So you're going to break down for each of the country, or each of the partner country, the country details, the activity, which will be student, traineeship, teacher or staff, and then you break down again on the flow, incoming or outgoing. Okay, so it's a tree basically. So partner countries, and the tree goes down to, let me go back to know if you can see me. So it's the partner countries on the top, break down to the, let's say, to the 5 different countries. That one country breaks down in activities, which are the 4 main activities, and each of the activities broken down in incoming or outgoing. The budget will be automatically calculated for you. There's nothing that you have to worry about, and that budget will be reflected in the budget summary. Okay? Right now, why is it my partner country is not completed yet? We wonder, we go inside and see what the problem is. Okay? You go on details and you scroll down, see where the problem is, because you show you, see, you have the red mark, and that information is actually on the guidelines. And why is that? Let's delete that activity, and maybe let's fix this activity, the staff for teaching. See, there are extra activities that have no information, and while this information is not complete, that red there won't go green. So we can add the details here. Let's say it's an outgoing, going from Ireland to Brazil. That's not a distance, but that would be it for now. So that'll be it for now, but you have to use the distance band. 2 participants, they're going for 14 days. Reminding you that the minimum duration for staff or teachers is 5 days, excluding travel. Okay, 5 days excluding travel, and then but you can add up to 2 travel days, and it calculates that for you. 16, and that's the total. See, I put 14, you wonder, okay, that one participant is going for 14. No, that one participant is going for 7 if you have 2 participants here. So if you want them to go for 14 days each, you're going to add, see, 28 days. And if it goes less than that, let's say we put 7 days here, it goes for you. requested total duration for the total number of participants does not correspond to the minimum duration per mobility as defined by the program guide, 5 days per staff mobility. Okay, so we would always remind you of the rules of the program, which again, very much user-friendly. So we are okay with that mobility. If we go back to activity 2, which is the staff, you have there the breakdown of the budget, and if you go back to the main activities again, to the budget, that information was added up there as well. It's still red, and we go back to find out what's wrong. Here, student mobility, probably because I have some extra. You see, I added that many. You have to delete them. While you have anything red inside of your application, nothing will go green. Okay? See? It went green because all the information, not all the information is there, because you might have more information to put, but if the information is complete, or if you just created a flow with no information at all, that won't go green. The budget, again, you have nothing to input here, absolutely nothing. That will be exported. That information will come from the information that you put under partner countries. Okay. And here you can see the budget for, you can see the breakdown for that country. You see, you have activity 1, activity 2, and you have the breakdown of the budget. But again, under the budget summary heading, you will not input any information, just on the partner countries. If you want to add another partner country, you notice it went red again there, because you have requested another partner country, but you haven't put any information. So again, you can add as many partner countries as you want, and inside of each of the country you can add as many institutions, you can add as many activities. Okay, you're only allowed to add activities once you complete all this. So you can add as many activities, as many flows, as many everything, basically. And it's just is an easier drop down, and it's easier to delete as well if you want to get rid of it. Okay, so the application, going back, the context is the basic information, the duration of your contract, the application or the applicant organization, partner countries, the budget summary where you don't have to do anything, and then we go to the annexes. Very important, declaration of honor. You can download the declaration of honor from here, give to your legal representative to sign, who must be the same person you listed here under your organization. And then you can, well, let's show you. You download declaration of honor, print, okay, give it to your legal representative to date, sign, okay, and then you can then upload. When you scan and save and you upload here, okay, and any other file that you would like to add. We're going to get to that when it comes to 103, but for 107, only relevant documents that you feel will be relevant for the application to back up your partnership with the partners in the different countries. And then at the end, I mean, for here, just to let you know, it will be sufficient to add the declaration of honor for this item to go green. Okay, again, for 107 we don't require any other document, but for 103 we do, and I'm going to get to that shortly. The checklist, the same checklist as in the former form, and you have to tick and agree with the data protection notice. That's very important because this year there are some changes on the data protection regulation, so give it a special read and make sure that your institution agree and that you follow that notice and that agreement all the way to your project. Okay, you can always go back to the guidelines to see, and again, very important, the form is automatically saved every 2 seconds. Okay, going back, you can share that application with your colleagues, but you can share on a read only. Okay, you can send comments, maybe dear colleague, please make sure to fill up, to have a look at that, see if you agree. Okay, you can share that, you go to their email and you get access, but they have to have an EU login as well. Here you can download the PDF version of what you've done so far. Okay, so you see I downloaded that, and when you look at the application, it will come as a normal application. See that information missing on the applicant organization, the PIC. You see, you have the information in the university, preferably with the PIC. And you have, see, that's why you can print it off to have a look. You can print off the blank form to go through it. It's the exact same when you transform in PDF. The difference is you have this platform which is way user-friendly. You won't be allowed to submit the application unless all of these items are gone green. Okay. But if we go here to home, when you press in the little house here, you go back to the open calls and to my applications. So you see I've been messing around with some of these applications, right? But I'll show you what happens when after we submit. This is because I opened way too many, okay? The one that I was working on, it's the one that, where is it? Yeah, with the amount here. These ones you can always delete, the extra ones. But again, the applications that we show here is not the applications for your institution. These will be applications that are linked to your EU login. So again, it's very important that all the application, all the information is filtered, comes to us through you. Because you can have colleagues that would access that platform, put on an application for 107, and if you put another application on the other side, the latest one will be the one accepted. So it is important, because I know there are a lot of the colleagues here. I'll go back to the presentation here. It's very important, because I know there are some colleagues here that are not the international officer. They are the colleagues that maybe have put some other KA 107 applications on their department or faculty. It is important that you are in contact with the international office, okay, because they are our main contact and they are the ones that are supposed to submit that application. If by any chance some institutions, they have some different people putting on their application, make sure that there's the one person submitting that application. It is very important. We cannot accept more than one application per institution. I'll just go back to the presentation. We have gone a bit more than what my initial intention was. But I'm going to, does anyone have any question? Everyone's very quiet. I know there was a problem with the sound, but the sound should be fine now. I'm going to show quickly here so just to show you the application process, then just to follow through with the presentation. Sorry. The application process, the information is the exact same information requested in the form, but they are now in a more user-friendly format. So for KA 103, you have the context, applicant organization, mobility activity, annexes, checklist. For 107, you have the partner countries and the budget summary. In other words, you have only the partner countries, because once you fill in the partner countries, all the information should go to the budget summary. The mobility activities here, I'll show you now, but that's the usual information. You won't put the breakdown per country or pick for your partner institutions in Europe. So what I should save, again, it saves every 2 seconds. Saves automatically. Saves that every 2 seconds. So there's no need to press any save button, okay? That was Margaret. Yeah. It will automatically save when you go off. If it's gone the 2 minutes, if you've done anything in the last 2 seconds, not 2 minutes, 2 seconds, it will save. No, Audrey, not just yet. Glad to hear you can hear me now, Catherine. We're nearly finished now, but again, just revising. The first and the most important step of your application process is the guidelines. The guidelines will give you everything that I told you now, but it give you give you the basics of the application process. And here, I mean, on these slides you have them. The application form consists of the following main sections. So for 103, context, applicant organization, and mobility activities, annexes, and checklist, and similar to KA107. It is important here that the applicant organization will be asked. You are asked to put your PIC number. Okay, let's see what's happening here. To say this time we had too many technical issues. Fiona, there are no quality questions in KA103. As I said, it's the exact same questions or the same information that you input for 103. So there are no quality questions for 103. We'll be looking, I mean, on your past performance to decide how many mobilities we'll give it to you. Okay. Mary Lyons, Claire or Marita in UCC, is the presentation okay again? I'll go forward because otherwise we won't finish here today. Thanks, Mary. So just going back, the peak for your organization. Organizations that have previously registered for a peak should not register again. We had problems in the past with some of the institutions, some of the colleagues. So if you are not sure, if you're not sure about the PIC, check, okay, with legal representative. You most likely have a PIC already, because if you have registered, if you have an Erasmus charter, you have a PIC. So make sure you use that one, okay? Then the application process. You see, I'll show you quickly the mobility, the main activities, right? I'll show them quickly for 103. I'll be back to your questions, Kathleen and Leila, but I'll just go on to explain that the mobility activities then you'll be adding, I'll show here quickly. The annex for 103 that is essential is the HA tables mobility. The one that you're used to. It is available also on our website. If I go back, okay, on the link, you see the link to access the application form, you see HEA tables mobility. It will show you, I'll send it to you together with the webinar, but you have to let us know which countries you're partnering with, because there are different rates, so we can optimize the allocation, okay? We ask you that every year, and we kindly ask you to annex the tables to your application this year. It is very important you annex that, because then it allows us to process and we don't have to go after you asking for the tables, okay? Then the checklist is the same as I showed before. So the main differences then from 107 and 103 is the 103 you have the list of mobilities, where you list student mobility for study, placement, staff mobility for teaching assignment, and staff mobility for training. And under the list of each activity, you have the total number of participants, the total duration. I'll show you that now. And the HA tables need to be annexed to the application. In 107, you only have to worry about the partner countries. And as I explained, it is a tree. You have the head, where the partner countries, your partner country then will be broken down in the institutions and activity, and each of the activity then in the kind of flows, okay? And the budget summary is filled automatically, so you don't have to worry about that. To submit the application, then once all of the green, all of the items are green, you'll be able to submit your application, okay? That means then that there'll be a pop-up screen confirmation that you want to submit the application, and after that, when you click yes, your submission confirmation. It is submitted, but once it's submitted, you go under My Applications and you see the applications that have been submitted, or the applications you're working on, and you can actually reopen and edit again the same application. You don't need to start from scratch. You have to edit again. You can reopen, edit, but make sure you resubmit it. Otherwise, it will be just open and it won't be considered submitted. So if you have to edit after you submit it, that will overwrite your application, but you have to resubmit, okay? You reopen, you edit, submit, and that will overwrite your previous application, okay? We go to questions and answers, just so we go a little bit more, 5 minutes. So going back to Kathleen, it seems to be going nowhere. Can I ask? Do we need to attach the sheet detailing what countries are going to be in and attach as annex on 103? Yes, Kathleen, this is the HA table mobility, which will be sent to you together with the webinar and the link to the platform. This webinar is recorded. We're going to be sending that later on today. We had some issues again with the sound. We sent the recorded. Kathleen, yes, you can use the same HA tables mobility that you used in the past. It's the exact same. We didn't change, because it's very straightforward. We just want to know how many students for study placement, staff for teacher or training you want to send to each of the countries, just so we have an idea. I know it will be a guesstimation for you, and so it's for us, but we need to have a better idea of how to allocate to each of the institutions. And bear in mind that although there are no quality questions for Key Action 103, the quality question will basically be your past performance, okay? So we'll be looking at institutions, let's say, that gave us back too much money, that said initially they're going to send more students than they actually sent, or if they maybe used more, or half of their OS last year to allocate to students because they had no budget left. So this is we're not aiming at penalizing anyone for that. It's just that we want to optimize the use of the budget. So if you don't use the budget, there are students or staff that could benefit from that. So that's why last year we had 2 interim reports. This year will be the very same thing for 2017. And for 2018, there might be 2 or more interim reports. Okay. Okay, I don't know if there are any other questions. I think, Kathleen, if you're okay with my answer, that you can use the past HA tables. I'm just going to go quickly into the 103, right? On the 103 application, just to show you the main activities, okay? So again, the guidelines, the context will be the same. You can choose between the duration 16 or 12 or 24 months. 16 you'll be finishing on September 2019. 24 months you'll be finishing May 2020. So some colleagues right now have a 24-month to maybe allow more interns to go on different times of the year. So if it's something that you think might be useful, consider it. If not, if you want to stick to the 16 months, that is great, and it's great for us as well. Applicant organization, you'll be using your pick. Make sure you use the one and do not create a new one. Go in. It won't go green if you just put the PIC number. You need to update the legal representative and the contact person. You can add more than one contact person, and that contact person is the person that's going to have access to the mobility tool as well. We can add more people after in the mobility tool, but just straight away, that's the way to have those people, give access to those people to the mobility tool straight away. Mobility activities, that's the main difference from 107. While in 107 you have the partner countries here you have no countries. You're just going to list the activities. Okay, so you add the activity 1 and you edit there on activity details. Then select activity type, so student for studies. Number of participants, let's say we want to send 150. Total duration of months. I want my students to go for some 3 months, some 10 months. Find an average. Let's say you want your students to go for 10 months, just to make my mathematics easier here. Okay, so 10 months. And you would accept. But see, there is a note here. The minimum is 3 months, or 1 academic term, or trimester per study mobility. So, if you try to put, let's say, 300 here, shouldn't accept, because it means it's 2 months each. Something I have to note to them there. But even if you try 150, it won't allow you, okay? Because the minimum duration is 3 months. Maybe the 1 academic term or trimester, they accept the 2 months, because in some cases, some institutions, they only have 2 months. The semester, the academic term is 2 months, okay? But it won't allow you to put more than that. And the extra days, let's say the 10 days or whatever. But here, of course, it's not accepting. You won't know necessarily how many months they go, but this is your application. That's why we do an interim report, a second interim report, and maybe a third interim report, just so we know how much you have used. Because the 1 month that you're not using here or there might be essential for another institution to send a staff or to send a student to a different place on a different type of activity. Okay, so this is activity 1. You go back to mobility activities, you see that's there. If you're only sending students, you will go green straight away, but you then can add other activities. But just like 107, when you want to add another type of activity, your options go down. Okay, so you can only add traineeships now. You're sending 2 participants for 10 months with extra days 0, 300 months, and you go back and you want to send teachers. You add an activity details to edit, and again, your options are less than previously. So you can only, basically, you can only have 4 activity types. That's the bottom line, okay? Question? Any question? I know some of our colleagues are gone already. I'm nearly finished. If you have any last minute questions. So, here, activity details. Okay. See, it's green. And then, if you only have those 2 activities, if you have 3 activities, 1 activities, it should be fine. Once you complete all the information requested under activity details, this 3 or 4 information, 4 pieces of information, once you complete that and it's green there, it will be green there. So it is very straightforward. You know you don't have to put any other, you know you're not missing any information. You can export it as a PDF. You can go back on your list of my applications and see that that application is open. Okay. Yeah, this one. So you go in, you edit, it goes back to where you were before. Okay. Let's see the question. Peter, am I correct in that the minimum number of months for placement is 2? Sorry, Peter, and sorry, Tara, and sorry, all the colleagues. Yes, for placement is 3. Actually, let me go back there. There's a very important. Let me see if they pick that up. So I've put 3 months. Yes, there you go. You have the information there. The requested total is, so the minimum is 2 months. So again, the application is user-friendly, is international officer-friendly, because it means that if you're going to put a number that does not correspond to the program, it will alert you, as it's doing right now with the placement. So you see, it's the only 2 months. This was it was it was a mistake in many of the applications in the past, but maybe it's not necessarily a mistake. It's just a question of I'll stop sharing it. It's just a question of, let me open here, of miscalculation or not understanding. So the application now is great because of that. Here, the HA tables are on the very same link on the PowerPoint presentation we're sending them to you, and we're sending it on by email as well. And the HA tables you can download from our website. And as Kathleen was asking, and for everyone's information, it is just like the one previous years. So you'll be showing here the number of students for the number of months for each of the countries, okay? So we can have an idea, a vague idea of how much your institution will be requesting. Regarding Key Action 107, the question from UCC, the additional forms required apart from Declaration of Honor. Claire, just if you have any additional documentation that you want to back up on the partnership or on the mobility or on the cooperation with the partner institution. So you don't necessarily have to attach anything on apart from the Declaration of Honor for the Key Action 107 application. Okay. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording, so this is not going to be too long, but I can stay here for another couple of minutes just to answer some questions if there are any. Okay. I forgot to say at the very beginning of the webinar, belated Happy New Year to everyone. I'm just back, so full on and ready for another year full of mobility questions, mobility tool, and all the IT and the technology for 2018. So I wish you all the best for this year. Good luck with the applications, and you can always contact me if you have any queries. Make sure you have that application before the 1st of February, okay? It is the first year with the application on the platform. There might be thousands and thousands of HEIs applying. So the 1st of February, the system might be packed. So please make sure you submit it before, okay? The last minute, if you want to reopen in something, you can, but the earlier you do that, the earlier, well, the better, really. The earlier you get rid of that, the earlier you can work on other things, and the safer as well, okay? So thank you very much for all the participants. It was great. Apologies again for the few technical issues, but we'll be in touch. All the best for 2018. Bye, guys.